Sean O'Malley, you can't even fake that. That's one of the most popular UFC fighters. But popularity don't win fights, okay? Because I saw how he was saying he was going to knock the dude out. I mean, talk your talk, but how prepared were you? Because we all know that this dude is going to give it to you for 5 rounds. And here's the disadvantage that Sean had. And Henry Cejudo said this thing, that Sean is not used to 5-round fights, you know. People who knock people out easily need to be disciplined enough to train for 5-round fights, because when you knock people out back to back to back to back, people are going to figure that out and realize that if I take him the distance, he might not be able to cope. That's one side of the story. The other side of the story is that Sean O'Malley got dominated for 5 rounds, 5 whole rounds, okay? So I don't know how the judges scored that scorecard, but I mean, if you play football, you will understand, or if you're a football fan, you understand that Messi, Ronaldo's, Neymar and the likes, they will always have the ways with certain stuff, okay, where the ref will tend to support them because they are special, they bring a lot to the game. I feel like that's what Sean O'Malley enjoyed. He won't look good in the scorecard to say, oh, he got dominated for 5 rounds, okay? For those of us who watched the fight, know that wasn't the Sean O'Malley that we supported. That wasn't the Sean. I bet on Sean O'Malley to knock the dude out in the 2nd round. Even though I've seen his fights, I know that he's the guy that will always put in the force and always bring the game. But I also knew that Sean O'Malley has the ability to time your jaw or your cheek or whatever. So I bet on Sean O'Malley. And the fact that he lost, I don't even feel bad about it. It happens, okay? Israel Adesanya, same thing. So this is what I'm going to say. Fighting for the belts sometimes puts a certain level of pressure on you, and then sometimes gives you a certain level of confidence that you only really need discipline to conquer. Because once you get that confidence and know that, well, I've knocked out the best of them, then you look at this guy, the fans doesn't really like him, they don't cheer for him. That gives you a certain level of belief that in his head, he has, lost the fight. So I don't need to really say much or train much to defeat this guy. That's what happens in the mind of some champions sometimes. But then the guy who is willing to die to get the belt from you is the most dangerous guy of all, which is what that guy does, okay? He fought Henry Cejudo. That's when I started looking at the guy different. I've watched a couple of his fights, but when he fought Henry Cejudo, I looked at the guy like, okay, this guy is the real deal, But for Sean O'Malley, I felt he was flat-footed on that day, and it happens. Like I said, Dricus Du Plessis, Israel Adesanya. Looking at those 2 fights, you know that Israel Adesanya is the elite fighter, but Dricus Du Plessis is strong, and then he wanted the belt by all means. It wasn't even about the banter of who's the real African, who's the blah, 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 blah. That was not the case. The case is he wanted the belt more than Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya, on the other hand, haven't held the belt for so long, dominated that division, and started his losing streak just 3 times in his career in a row, actually, in the UFC. He's a legend. Can't take that away from him. But regarding that fight, I felt like my scorecard, Israel Adesanya was actually winning the fight until he got submitted. And these things happen when the person you're fighting is ready to die to beat you, okay? Especially when there's a bad blood between you guys. And Dricus Du Plessis don't really need no push to fight. He pushes himself. He knows that he's not the best of stand-up guys, he's not the best wrestler. He's strong. He capitalizes on that. And then he comes forward. If you hit him, he's going to still come forward. He fights. His fight is not... he doesn't have a fighting style. He just comes anyhow. And then he gets the job done. So shout out to Rob, and of course, I believe that O'Malley will bounce back. Shout out to Dana White. This fair is a good venue, and the graphics were different. The special effects, everything. Shout out to the UFC. My name is Efe Worry Boy. My show in Coventry is on the 20th of October, 2024. See you guys there. Bless.